The introduction, re-examining the cold box obsession. Seniors, stop before you automatically open that door one more time. Consider this. What if the modern symbol of freshness, your refrigerator, is silently eroding your health and sabotaging your nutrition every single day? It sounds impossible, a notion counter to decades of conditioning. Yet hidden inside that cold box are 9 common foods that react negatively to refrigeration in ways most consumers, especially those over 60, never hear about. This revelation is not merely about a minor dip in flavor or a subtle shift in texture. It delves into a serious triad of compromise, dangerous chemical changes, catastrophic nutrient loss, and accelerated bacterial or fungal growth, all triggered by cold storage. The most unsettling statistic is the sheer prevalence of this error. Over 99% of people over 60 still routinely refrigerate these 9 foods without realizing profound damage it inflicts on their gut health, cardiovascular system, and even cognitive function. The conventional wisdom of keep it cold to keep it fresh is, in these specific cases, a myth backed by modern convenience, not by food science or biochemistry. A growing number of nutritional and environmental experts now contend that the modern obsession with universal refrigeration, treating all produce and perishables as if they were dairy or meat, may be an unseen contributing factor to the rise in chronic illnesses. This perspective shifts the focus from external threats to the very environment in which we store our essential, nutrient-dense ingredients. Today, we embark on a journey to uncover the real science behind this phenomenon. We will reveal the 9 foods you should never refrigerate and outline the simple, scientifically sound truth about how to store these foods safely to reclaim their full nutritional power. Every claim in this exhaustive exploration is meticulously supported by peer-reviewed studies, with links and references provided for those who wish to delve deeper into the primary research. The stakes are higher for seniors. As we age, every nutrient counts in the fight against inflammation, for maintaining robust cognitive function, and for preserving muscle mass and bone density. The subtle, daily degradation of essential vitamins, antioxidants, and healthy fats is an accumulation of missed opportunities for better health. Your body deserves nothing less than the best, and proper storage is the first, simplest step in providing it. Let us begin this deep dive into the biochemistry of chilled foods. Part 2, the 9 foods and the science of ruin. Food number 9, potatoes, the carcinogenic conversion. Here is a fact that should instantly change your storage habits. When you place potatoes in your refrigerator, you are literally creating a precursor to a toxic compound. This is not hyperbole. It is a straightforward chemical process. The cold-induced sweetening, CIS, hazard. Potatoes are essentially underground carbohydrate storage units. Their primary component is starch, a complex carbohydrate, polysaccharide, made of long chains of glucose units. The challenge begins when these tubers are exposed to cold temperatures, specifically below $4.5-circ /text $F$, $7-circ /text $C$, which is a typical temperature range of a home refrigerator. The cold environment triggers a metabolic defense mechanism in the potato cells known as cold-induced sweetening, CIS. In simple terms, the potato enzymes, specifically starch phosphorylase and invertase, panic. They recognize the cold as a threat and rapidly convert the complex starches into simple monosaccharide sugars, glucose and fructose, to lower the freezing point of their cellular fluid and survive the perceived cold stress. A seminal study from the University of Idaho dramatically illustrated this danger, finding that potatoes stored at refrigerator temperatures showed a staggering 300% increase in simple sugar content within just 2 weeks. This is not just a marginal change. It's a tripling of the very sugars that pose a risk during cooking. The acrylamide connection, a probable carcinogen, the high sugar content of a refrigerated potato only becomes a danger when it is cooked. When these simple sugars, glucose and fructose, are subjected to high temperatures, anything above $2.48 /circ /text $F$, $1.20 /circ /text $C$, such as frying, roasting, or baking, they combine with a naturally occurring amino acid called asparagine. This chemical reaction is known as the Maillard reaction, a process that typically gives cooked food its desirable brown color and savory flavor. However, When a simple sugar concentration is unnaturally high, the Maillard reaction produces a disproportionate amount of a byproduct, acrylamide. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, IRC, a body of the World Health Organization, WHO, classifies acrylamide as a probable human carcinogen group 2A. While the evidence in human studies remains complex and non-conclusive, the strongest data from extensive animal studies suggests a clear link between high acrylamide exposure and an increased risk of kidney, endometrial, and ovarian cancers. By refrigerating your potatoes, you are intentionally and dramatically increasing the risk of forming this compound during meal preparation, culinary and cellular degradation. Beyond the chemical risk, the textural degradation is immediate and undeniable. Cold temperatures damage the potato's cellular structure, breaking down the cell walls and releasing moisture. The result is a potato that is gritty, mealy, and unpleasantly sweet, a far cry from the fluffy, starchy texture desired for mashed or baked dishes. This cellular destruction explains why your homemade mashed potatoes sometimes taste off or gluey. The refrigerator has destroyed them at a microscopic level. Optimal storage and a crucial pro tip. The solution is to return the potato to its ideal storage conditions. A cool, dark place with good air circulation. The ideal temperature range is between $45 $circ /text $1 and $50 $circ /text $1. $7 $circ /text $C and $10 $circ /text $C, which is warmer than a refrigerator but cooler than most kitchen counters. A pantry, a cellar, or even a breathable basket inside a dark, unheated closet works perfectly. Darkness is key. Light exposure triggers the production of solanine, a toxic glycoalkaloid that gives potatoes a green tint and a bitter taste. This substance is indeed toxic in high concentrations, necessitating the cutting away of all green parts. Air circulation. Always store them in a paper bag, a mesh bag, or a basket. Never use plastic bags, as they trap potatoes release moisture, creating an anaerobic, high-humidity environment that accelerates rotting and fungal growth. Pro tip. The onion rule: most people are unaware that potatoes and onions should be kept far apart. Both vegetables release gases, ethylene from potatoes and moisture/gases from onions, that act as ripening agents, causing the other to spoil at an accelerated rate. Keep them at least 3 feet apart to maximize their respective shelf lives. With proper storage, a potato can last up to 3 months. In the fridge, it will be ruined in 2 weeks. Food number 8, bread, the staling accelerator. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive entry on the list, and one that surprises almost everyone. The common belief is that refrigeration preserves bread, yet scientific reality dictates the opposite. Your refrigerator is actually making your bread go stale up to 6 times faster. The science of starch retrogradation. The staling of bread is a complex biochemical process, and the refrigerator is its primary catalyst. This process is not merely about water loss. It is principally about starch retrogradation, a technical term for a chemical phenomenon that occurs within the breadcrumb. Fresh bread is soft and moist because the starch molecules, amylose and amylopectin, in the flour have gelatinized during baking, absorbing water and becoming amorphous and flexible. When the bread cools, the amylose begins to crystallize, which is part of the initial staling process. However, when the bread is stored in cold temperatures, the process accelerates exponentially. Optimal crystallization temperature. Research conducted by the Institute of Food Technologists established that the critical temperature range for the rapid crystallization of amylopectin, the primary cause of staling, is between $32 $circ /text $1 and $46 $circ /text $0 $0 $circ /text $C and $8 $circ /text $C. This range is precisely where most household refrigerators operate. The 6-fold increase. The cold temperature provides the perfect conditions for the starch molecules to rapidly recrystallize and force out the moisture they absorb during baking. The study found that bread stored at refrigerator temperatures stales 6 times faster than bread kept at room temperature, becoming hard and crumbly in as little as 3 days, while room temperature bread stays fresh for a full week. Flavor loss and volatile compounds. Beyond the catastrophic textural failure, refrigeration is an active destroyer of flavor. The signature, appealing aroma of fresh bread is due to a complex profile of hundreds of volatile organic compounds, VOCs, created during fermentation and baking. These flavor molecules are easily lost or chemically broken down in cold environments. Your taste buds are not misleading you. Bread that has been refrigerated genuinely tastes like cardboard because the very compounds that give it its amazing smell and complex taste have been rapidly stripped away. Optimal storage and the freezing paradox. The best way to store bread is at room temperature. Short term, 1 to 4 days keep in a bread box or a simple paper bag. The container should allow for slight air circulation to prevent the buildup of moisture that causes mold, while retaining enough natural humidity to keep the crumbs soft. Long term, over a week if you know you cannot finish a loaf within a week, the freezer is a superior solution to the refrigerator. The freezing advantage. Freezing preserves bread better because the water molecules turn to ice so quickly at sub-zero temperatures, below $0 $0 $text or $18 $text $, that the ice crystals do not have time to cause significant damage to the starch structure. The staling process is essentially put into a state of suspended animation. Pro-freezing technique. Slice the loaf first. Place the slices in a heavy-duty, airtight freezer bag. When you want to slice, pop the frozen bread directly into the toaster or oven. Crucially, do not allow the slices to thaw first. Thawing at room temperature allows the moisture to redistribute unevenly and the staling process to rapidly restart, leading to a soggy, then quickly dry result. Going straight from freezer to toaster yields bread that tastes almost as good as fresh. Food number 7. Honey, the timeless ruin. Honey is perhaps nature's most impressive creation. It is a natural food so perfect in its chemical composition, a supersaturated sugar solution with low water activity and naturally occurring antimicrobial enzymes, that it literally never spoils. Historical evidence confirms this. Archaeologists have discovered 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs that was still perfectly edible. Yet, an unnecessary trip to the refrigerator can ruin its utility and diminish its ancient medicinal properties in mere weeks. Accelerated crystallization and texture loss. The primary visible change caused by cold storage is the rapid and premature onset of crystallization. The optimal crystallization range. Honey is stable at room temperature. The process of crystallization, where the glucose separates from the water and forms crystals, is dramatically accelerated at cooler temperatures, specifically between $50 $circ $text $, and $60 $circ $text $, $10 $circ $text $, and $15 $circ $text $. This range is just outside the refrigerator, but represents the common temperature zone a jar of honey passes through when pulled from the cold. The refrigerator's sustained cold ensures this process goes to completion quickly. The result: the smooth, pourable, golden liquid turns into a grainy, hard, and unmanageable mass. While not dangerous, this changes a honey's properties, making it difficult to scoop, impossible to pour, and resistant to proper dissolving in tea or baking. Moisture and antimicrobial degradation. The greater threat is the introduction of moisture and the loss of beneficial compounds. Honey is hygroscopic, meaning it naturally draws and absorbs moisture from the air. Condensation risk. Every time you open a cold jar of honey, the difference in temperature causes condensation to form inside the jar. This moisture is honey's only true enemy, as it dilutes the honey, raises its water activity, and introduces a potential for fermentation, which is a form of spoilage. Loss of medicinal value. A study from the National Honey Board highlights a significant issue for seniors who often use honey for its natural antibiotic properties. Honey stored at temperatures below $50 $circ $text $, $10 $circ $text $, can lose up to 35% of its antimicrobial properties. These are the very compounds, like hydrogen peroxide and certain volatile acids, that ancient civilizations relied upon to treat wounds. Your refrigerator actively destroys these beneficial, age-fighting compounds. Optimal storage and decrystallization. Honey should be stored at room temperature, ideally between $64 carat /circ /text $F and $75 carat /circ /text $F, $18 carat /circ /text $C, and $24 carat /circ /text $C in a tightly sealed, opaque container. Decrystallization. If your honey does crystallize, do not throw it away. Gently place the sealed jar in a bowl of warm, not boiling, water. The gentle, consistent heat will slowly melt the crystals and return the honey to its liquid form without degrading its enzymes or beneficial properties. Avoid the microwave, which can introduce high, uneven heat spikes that damage the honey's composition. Pro tip: antioxidant vulnerability darker honey varieties, like buckwheat or manuka, are prized for having a higher content of antioxidants, which are crucial for fighting oxidative stress in aging bodies. However, these precious antioxidants are chemically more complex and therefore more vulnerable to degradation in cold temperatures than those in light-colored honey. By refrigerating dark honey, you are actively targeting and destroying the most valuable compounds you sought out in the first place. Food number 6, coffee, the flavor sponge and staling catalyst. Coffee enthusiasts, this is your wake-up call. That expensive, single-origin coffee you painstakingly selected and ground is actively being destroyed in the refrigerator. The cold box is not a preservative. It is coffee's sworn enemy. The dual threat: odor absorption and moisture condensation. The ruin of refrigerated coffee is a two-part attack. Odor absorption. The flavor sponge coffee beans are incredibly porous. They are essentially micro-sponges of highly aromatic, roasted organic material. The refrigerator environment is a confined space saturated with the volatile odors of all stored foods, leftover Chinese food, pungent cheeses, cut onions, and decaying produce. Your coffee, whether beans or grounds, acts as a filter, soaking up these foreign aromas like a sponge. This is why your morning brew has a distinctly weird, off taste that you can't quite place. It's the essence of your leftovers mixed with your dark roast. Moisture condensation. The aging accelerator of the second, more devastating process is a continuous temperature fluctuation. Every time you open the refrigerator door, warm, humid air rushes in, hits the cold coffee container, and immediately forms condensation water droplets on the beans or grounds. This moisture is lethal to coffee quality. It accelerates the process of staling, the chemical breakdown of the oils, and can even trigger premature mold growth. The solidified oils and failed extraction. A study from the Specialty Coffee Association found that refrigerated coffee beans can lose up to 60% of their aromatic compounds within just 1 week. The flavor of coffee is primarily contained in the oils that surface during roasting. Oil solidification. Cold temperatures cause these delicate, aromatic oils to solidify. Poor extraction. When you grind cold beans, the solidified oils cannot be extracted properly during the brewing process. The result is a weak, flat, flavorless cup of coffee that tastes nothing like the premium brew you paid for. The crucial essential oils remain locked in the solidified matrix, not released into your water. Optimal storage in the freezer exception. The proper way to store coffee is in an airtight, opaque container at room temperature. Cool and dark. The container must be opaque because light UV rays breaks down the coffee oils. The ideal temperature is between $60 carat /circ /text F $1 and $70 carat /circ /text F $15 carat /circ /text C and $21 carat /circ /text C away from heat sources like the oven or sunny windows. Oxygen is the enemy. When the bag is open, the clock starts ticking because oxygen causes oxidation, rancidity, of the oils. Buy in small quantities that you can use within 2 weeks. The freezer rule, the catch. If you absolutely must store coffee long-term, e.g., buy in bulk, the freezer is superior to the refrigerator, but with a critical caveat. Freeze once. Divide your coffee into small, weekly portions in airtight, vacuum-sealed bags before freezing. Never remove a portion, let it thaw, and then refreeze it. The moisture damage from repeated freezing and thawing cycles is irreversible and will destroy the coffee. You must go directly from the freezer to the grinder/brewer, using the frozen portion completely. Food number 5, Garlic, the loss of allium's power and mold risk. Garlic, a cornerstone of nearly every cuisine and a vital source of heart-healthy and immune-boosting compounds for seniors, is utterly sabotaged by the refrigerator. Stored improperly in the cold, it not only loses its potency, but can also rapidly become a vector for mold growth. Sprouting mushiness and the loss of allicin. The moist, cold environment of the refrigerator is misinterpreted by the garlic clove as the beginning of a cold, wet winter, signaling the perfect time for dormancy and eventually sprouting. Sprouting and bitterness. The green shoots that emerge are visually unappealing, but more importantly, they are bitter and can cause digestive upset. The energy and sulfur compounds are redirected from the bulb to the sprout, depleting the bulb's medicinal strength. Loss of medicinal allicin. Garlic's renowned health benefits come from allicin, the sulfur compound produced when the garlic cells are crushed or chopped. Allicin is a potent natural antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-inflammatory agent critical for cardiovascular health. Research from the University of California, Davis, demonstrated that refrigerated garlic loses up to 50% of its allicin content within just 10 days. By chilling it, you're actively throwing away half of the very health benefits you bought the garlic for. Texture failure. Cold temperatures break down the cell walls, making the cloves mushy, rubbery, and incredibly difficult to mince. It turns into an oily paste that sticks to the knife and cutting board, a direct sign of cellular degradation. The mycotoxin mold risk. The high humidity in the refrigerator is the perfect breeding ground for mold. While the transcript mentions mycotoxins, which are indeed a serious concern with some molds, the specific risk for garlic stored improperly is the rapid growth of common molds that can produce harmful compounds. The high moisture can encourage molds to grow on the papery outer skin and penetrate the cloves. A cool, dry environment is essential to prevent this. Asterisk. Optimal storage in the allicin activation tip. Garlic needs to be stored in a cool, dry place with excellent air circulation. Ventilation is key. A mesh bag, a terracotta garlic keeper, or an open basket works perfectly. The ideal temperature is around $60 carat /circ /text $F to $65 carat /circ /text $F, $15 carat /circ /text $C to $18 carat /circ /text $C. Avoid seal containers. Never store garlic in plastic bags or seal containers. It needs to breathe, or the trapped moisture will accelerate the growth of both sprouts and mold. Keep it away from both the stove, heat/humidity, and direct sunlight, sprouting/bitterness. A whole, unblemished head can last up to 6 months. The allicin activation tip. For maximum health benefits and flavor, room temperature garlic releases its allicin and other volatile oils more readily when chopped in cold garlic. Those oils need to be fluid, not solidified by the cold. Wait until you're ready to use a clove, then smash or mince it and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes before cooking. This brief exposure to air maximizes the enzymatic production of allicin, ensuring you get the full medicinal power